so let's do it. Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. It's Friday, and so we're doing Mess Around Friday. It's actually around Friday, but we can't say that at the start of a YouTube video, otherwise it's going to be an issue. So hello everyone. We're going to be talking about the Only Hands story, the Only Hands tale, which is a bit of gossip. Now this is what they call a drama farm. So there might be a clickbait thumbnail and then a YouTube title at the bottom. Who knows, right? A drama farm. It's where effectively creators don't have to do any actual work, and instead all we do is just talk about some gossip. And here I am. So please do like and subscribe. Thank you so much. I'm joined by the Twitch chat. I'm live every day, Monday through to Friday, and me and the Twitch chat hang out all the time. They're my friends, and that's it. So what up? Like McLeod, resubscribing. Thanks for you. Truly inspiring, Rob. Thank you, L. Ron Hubbard. Truly inspiring. Yeah. The reason it's very tough for me to drama farm is I have a very savage Twitch chat who wouldn't let me do stuff like that, and instead they'll just cuss me. So that's why it's hard. But let's talk about this. Right, we're going to read through the thread, and then I'm going to talk about it as things go on. I've got lots of thoughts on this. Before we get into it, I should mention that I was an employee for Games Workshop. In fact, I was actually one of their first presenters. Duncan was making painting videos longer than before I started there, but I was their first kind of live presenter on a regular basis. I set up Warhammer Live. And so before we get any comments, what do you think? Do you know what? I'm going to tell Rob that I think he might be wrong. I've actually lived through these experiences, and you haven't. So probably shut up. That's a good start. That's a great start, is all I'm going to say. Okay. So here we go. As any who follow me likely knows, says Marius Gage on Twitter. Do follow. I'm a fan of Warhammer Plus. Okay. We should probably talk about that before we go any further. Warhammer Plus, what is it? It's a subscription service, not an app, where you have to log into one website to then go to another website. In the proposed launch of Warhammer Plus, you got battle reports by a presenter called Patrick, who's no longer there, with an editor for him called Patrick, who's no longer there. You got painting tutorials from the Suggs, and then we're going to talk about that in detail in a bit. With an editor called Hai, who's no longer there. Then you would get lore videos from Wade, who is no longer there. And then you would get animations. So the actual in-house production stuff, so those three things I previously mentioned, were obviously done by employees or people they hired specifically to do the job. The animations were people who were previously making animations on YouTube as independent creators. However, Games Workshop obviously gave them cease and desists, but said you could work for us for probably less money. Again, that's something I don't know. And also I should probably prefix this with, I guess everything in this is, in my opinion. So just put that out there. You also got a model if you paid for Warhammer Plus, something to do with the apps, although no one used the apps. Like those things. Let me just see what the chat's saying. Man's paid for 2 years. Warhammer Plus gave away both models and I've watched like 5 hours total over 2 years. I am the problem. Hugh in the chat understands that. Right, and one of the things that's very true is Games Workshop produce something we all love. It's really important. Some of these drama farmers it's a great name, by the way, a drama farmer. Like, I absolutely love it. Like, just working with their little camera and their hoe on their shoulder. They're just like, oh, it's a tough day down the farm. It's brilliant. Anyway, where was I? I've lost myself in the weeds because I can't get the visual image of a drama farmer out of my head. Let's be fair, the AOS app isn't absolutely terrible. I like the AOS app, but I preferred the old AOS app. Oh, you gained access to apps. You got some stuff. On launch, they said things like, we should probably go through like the launch offers if we were being really serious about it, but I can't be asked. They said things like, you're going to get tickets or something, or event stuff or whatever, which never really played out. And then and I think the main problem, it was mainly pitched as a subscription service so you could watch some sweet-ass animations. And indeed, there were some animations. But those animations were pretty lackluster. And because they didn't put a lot of animations out there, they had to rely a lot on the in-house produced stuff, like Battle Report, Painting Masterclass, and Lore Masters, I guess. Okay, so that's what Warhammer Plus is, just to let you in on the gossip. I love the content. I only ever get, and I I get, and only ever viewed the animations as gravy, so didn't even care about the animations, was Marius Gage. I still pay more than the current asking price, simp. I preface this was because it's important people know I've never jumped on the anti-Warhammer Plus bandwagon. There indeed was, at the start, Chapter Master Varak, probably one of the famous content creators, "I'll never watch a day of Warhammer Plus in my bloody life," he said, before reviewing Warhammer Plus animations not much longer after. And it's okay to make a stance, of course, and it's also okay to change your mind. It's very adult to change your mind. So that was a Horatian form of criticism, which was loving, as opposed to a Juvenalian form of criticism, which is probably what the rest of this video will be. Anyway, some of what I watch depends on army topic model technique, but most importantly, the presenter, the humanization. What a great conversation to be having during the inception of AI, where we're seeing articles and entire business models built off the back of AI. Maybe it's about the humanity, which is why we love it. Did you ever finish the Dawnstone video? No, I didn't. We'll do that later because that was great. Thank God you didn't go to uni, Rob, says Stavros. I think Wartime Sips of Tea really make this. Thanks, Jim Connius. I'm trying. I really don't remember moments of battle reports or paint guides instead of reactions to events, quirks, or mannerisms. Super fair. Size howls, Ben's chaosy glee, Nick's enthusiasm, or Louise's whimsy. Big fan of whimsy on the show. We're a big whimsy fan. Now, it's fair to say that actually, as a content creator myself, and also I've been doing a lot of like content creation analytics recently, the selling point is always the people. Like, there is very, I think it's a fair statement. And I myself am not victim, a perpetrator of this. Sometimes you just put out content like this content, which is effectively nothing. But you're engaged by the person. Some of my favorite content creators, while very knowledgeable in their source, are just people who I enjoy. And therefore, they're the people I watch. People like Hassan, who's a YouTube creator, Dr. Mr. Cody from Some More News. They're people who I enjoy, and so I watch their content and engage with their content because of the people presenting the content. That's one of the things. And Marius Gage agrees with that, and I think that's very human. You like a person, and therefore you engage with a person. That's how it works. We still get on these great battle reports and Loremaster episodes for now, and the occasional writer like John French. Love John French, by the way. Great guy. There's a lot of... I do this a lot, by the way. I say someone's a great guy, instead of saying... And if I don't say someone's a great guy, you can infer loads from that statement. So then, Loremaster episodes for now, and the occasional writer like John French. I like Deep Straight, don't at me. It's okay, I really like John French. But Masterclass has now lost this. The hands narrate the script for the model that 50% likely don't or won't own. Interesting. Where previously I could watch Aiden showcasing how to expertly paint an avatar or be entertained by Louise as she paints bottles or goblins and trolls, now I get a dulled boardroom presentation that's entirely the result of this only hand's direction and choice. Okay. Never really been impressed by John French's writing. That's okay. I wasn't commenting on his writing. I was commenting on him being a good dude. I'd probably join you on that, Ron Hubbard, to be honest. But passable. What bothers me the most is watching previous presenters in their new videos. Peachy on Painting Phase and Duncan's Academy. Unshackled from poor ideas and with great editing from Pat and Roger, their videos are much more entertainment and they are useful. Games Workshop had this talent on payroll. Okay, here we go. There's the Dunk. Yeah, just having a good time and enjoying himself. John French isn't even French. More Games Workshop lies. Correct. And there's the Peach, just having a lovely time. In fact, I actually was very much on the painting. I'm on the Painting Phase next week, and I recorded an interview with Peachy and editor Pat last week. And I spoke to Peachy, and I was like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Happiest I've ever been. I work hard, I enjoy myself, and everything I do is for me and Pat, and we're doing the best we can possibly do." It was incredible to see someone happy creating content. And I very much have been through, and I've very, very much been through this process. Again, I was a presenter for Games Workshop. Okay, so let's just remember that. Okay, as a Warhammer Plus supporter, I want to see it successful. Let your creatives create and allow their personalities to show while giving your video editors the same free reign to create something special that people will want support and their time and money. Only hands ain't it. Okay. So we're going to talk about this article in a moment. We're just going to let a picture of that beautiful little Suggs up there for a moment. So what they're referencing is the fact that in the most recent masterclass video, they're only letting people use their hands. Now, did this to the YouTube creators, which is a separate department, recently. So they're, again, lovely people just trying to create painting tutorials. And I assume that they went for the job, I assume that they went for the job because they wanted to paint on camera. They wanted to teach people how to paint. They love painting. They just want to paint. And show people painting, and if there's people willing to pay the money to do it, then they're keen to do that, okay? But, and we'll talk about this in detail now, so many of those people have quit, okay? So, while it's the dream job, and there's some comments I want to discuss in a minute, these people obviously, and very much like me, wanted to talk about Warhammer or create content about Warhammer. I wanted to make videos about Warhammer. Because Warhammer is something we really enjoy. I still like Warhammer, like the game, the miniatures, the universe, miniature soldiers, and all of that silly nonsense. It's one of the things I love. I love it. I'm surrounded by little minis now. There's a troll here that I super love that I'm painting, but that's a 3D printed sculpt, so fuck Games Workshop. There's just a bunch of stuff that's just super fun, and I like it. Right? It's a thing that I enjoy. But these presenters went there, and they quit. And some of them didn't go on to make their own content, and that's really important to know. So Patrick, who was, for example, their gaming presenter, no one really discussed the fact that he left, or even why he left. And I am privy to that information, but I'm not going to put that information out into the world because that's unfair on Patrick. But Pat didn't enjoy his time there, and he quit because he didn't enjoy his time there. I assume everyone quit because they didn't enjoy their time there. Because, and this is really important, becoming an independent content creator is very scary. There's loads and loads of thought put into this that people intentionally leave a very comfortable and safe job. Well, not comfortable as in the work environment is comfortable, as in you get monthly wages, to go and launch their own business because that's what they always planned to do, which is the stupidest thing I could possibly ever hear. I never really saw myself as a content creator, nor had the faith in myself that people would want to do that. But I had such a terrible time, this is my experience, working at Games Workshop. The managers were so awful and abusive. Again, my experiences that I'm talking about. Yeah. And they were so negative that not only did I have a huge amount of depression and PTSD from that experience, I had to quit. I had to quit and go and create my own stuff because these people are fucking awful to work for. It's got nothing to do with only having hands. It's got nothing to do with not being able to express yourself creatively in many ways. It's just they're fucking awful people to work for. You can't keep talent when you're a shit employer. That's literally what employment is all about. If someone is good, you pay them loads of money. And if your wages are high, then maybe you don't give a fuck about your working experience. But as we know, Games Workshop haven't been even paying and keeping up with inflation. So their wages haven't even matched inflation. So if you're a painting presenter, let's say one of the YouTube painting presenters, you're poorer now than you were last year in a business that's richer than it was last year. You're poorer, your working conditions are poor, and if you'll stay there 10 years, the business will get richer for 10 years and you'll be poorer for 10 years. Why would you stay in that job? You wouldn't stay in that job, ignore any other factor and I encourage you not to stay in those jobs, for whatever other business you were doing. If you were just a street sweeper, yeah, and then you were in 10 years' time, you're now going to be poorer than you were now, go get something fucking else. And actually, that's actually a little bit of a terrible mindset to have, because in that is the inclination that a street sweeper doesn't deserve the money that they get, and they should. What should really happen is it's on the employer, right? But the way you should do is quiet quit, don't do as much work. I would obviously never advocate for theft, but steal. You should effectively, if you're not being paid your labor value, you should just never engage with the labor. It's what you shouldn't do, right? That's really important. Okay, that's a first port of call. So, terrible working conditions and shit pay, right? Awful. And anyone who does any job, right? And we're talking about people who are, in some ways, quite lucky, because they're people who make, lovely content, right? And they're very talented artists. But, not doctors or nurses or, frontline people. I've struggled with this a lot myself as a creator. Just making something that's fun and engaging for someone doesn't feel worthwhile sometimes. It doesn't feel like you've done anything useful. But I've had messages time and again from people who've said that, like, content you've made has made me feel happy and it's made me be able to get on with my life. And that's super important. Like, I'm still struggling with that a little bit. If it was like a spaceship and we had to like evacuate the useful people on Earth, I'm going to put a nurse or a doctor or a firefighter or a fucking street sweeper probably ahead of me. Yeah, I'm like, get in there, lads. Like, I'll stay here. Don't worry about it. You get on the spaceship, you fly to the moon. You be safe. All right? But no work is invaluable. It's important, right? I'm really enjoying the edited stuff going to YouTube, so I jumped on Patreon. Thanks, Tobias. I hope you enjoyed it. All we need to do is prepare the guillotines. That's absolutely correct, right? Anyway, but that's a side note, and that's about me as a creator. Okay? So, we don't need to talk about anything else before we get on to being a content creator. We just talk about shit working conditions, right? And terrible management. My personal experiences. Now let's talk about the grift. Okay? Now this is such an important part of the story, and it's here. It's an article. Okay? See 5 incredible paint jobs from the new host of Citadel Color Masterclass. So this is an article about the Suggs. There she is, cutie. Right? And it talks about all of the painting that she did before she worked as the painting presenter for Games Workshop. She didn't work in heavy metal, and she didn't work as someone who produced painting content for Games Workshop in any way. She worked in Forge World, and she was just someone who made, like, graphics, or I don't fucking know what she made. Like, all sorts of stuff, right? That's what she did. So this stuff is her independent artwork. So irregardless, I forget which one's the right word. It doesn't matter that she worked at Games Workshop before she became the painting presenter. It's the same as an outside hire. Same as if they hired someone like Richard Gray, yeah, or I don't know, someone who's a good painter, me, because I'm a great Slapshot presenter, right? Yeah, all of these are paint jobs that she created before being hired by a company. Okay, so effectively, what this is hiring an external talent. Is you're saying you are very good at a job, and we think we can monetize your job to a level where we can make profit off you. Yeah, that's what these people do, right? They're effectively landlords. We can use your talent to sell a product, and then we can make money off your labor. It's a fair exchange of rates. That's pretty much what most businesses do. Yeah, as in shareholder stuff, not stakeholder stuff. Stakeholder stuff is better. That's effectively what we're talking about here. When we talk about Duncan and Peachy, we're talking about stakeholder businesses versus shareholder businesses. Everything Duncan creates with Roger, he directly benefits from financially or in some way. He's a stakeholder in his own business and therefore works harder in his own business, or maybe doesn't even work harder, just works smarter. And doesn't have to pay for anything excess. He directly creates labor and then benefits off his labor, right? Here, Peachy is doing exactly the same thing. Uses his labor to create money and capital for himself, and it doesn't go anywhere else. That's how it works. Stakeholder business. That's what we're talking about. In this is an advert for a shareholder business. This is an advert for, we have something we would like to sell you, which is her painting, which is phenomenal, her painting, which is just insane. People still talk about this now. The inverted horror. People are like, this is insane. Right? The way we rank jobs is flawed in Western society, 100%. I'm going to reiterate that point because I didn't make that very well earlier. When the street sweeper should get a better job, that's not actually true. The street sweeper should just like get paid better because it's a valuable part of our society, obviously. A street sweeper should be allowed to have 2 holidays a year, work 4 days a week, and own a home. Right? That's just how it works because it's a vital job. A binman should be able to do those things too because we need people to take out the bins. It's how society should work, right? Lockdown taught us all which jobs actually do shit exactly. Essential workers shouldn't get subsidized. All work that is responsible. I have a guy who works in a coffee shop to me locally, serves me coffee in the morning, nice guy. I don't think in any way that job shouldn't be sustain him well enough that he shouldn't be able to own a home. That's ridiculous, right? This is not fucking around Friday. This is no fucking around Friday. So if we can get every Warhammer player to buy Games Workshop socks instead of the box plastic, we can change the business. Potentially too greedy, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway, so here we go. Another paint job. I don't even fucking know how small that is, but that's very small, that Gandalf. Arguably way too small, right? Uh, there's right. Okay. Right. So, but what this is a grift. This is a steal, and this is super important to know. Duncan worked for Games Workshop. They made videos inside Games Workshop. Duncan's profile and business and strategy came from having worked internally at Games Workshop and then being their painting presenter. Similar to Peachy, although both brilliant independent creators themselves, Duncan definitely built his profile through Games Workshop. Louise did not. This Firenze was created before she was a Warhammer Plus presenter. This little tiny Space Marine, this guy, like all presented before. So this is the grift, and this is a grift Games Workshop actually do quite a lot, and we should talk about that. What they do is they steal, and again, my opinion, let's be important, is they steal labor, and they do it intentionally so. They have a lot of money. They're one of the most profitable businesses you can find. What they decided to do was to take someone who's well known in the community, pay them, make you subscribe to gain access to those things because you liked the person and you like their art. And then, further along down the line, worrying that they might understand the value of their own labor, decided to switch it so that you can no longer engage with the person. Now, of course, taking on that job already means that there are so many things you can't do. If you go and be a Warhammer Plus presenter, for example, I'm sure you can't paint other miniatures from other game companies, even if you wanted to. You couldn't use other paints. You probably, as I was, let's talk about my experiences again, because that's super fair. My experiences were, I was told what events I was and wasn't allowed to go to. I wasn't allowed to attend certain gaming events because the people who ran those events were deemed not Games Workshop enough. I wasn't allowed to play other games or even ever post a picture of playing other games. I had to be very sensitive about what stuff I put on social media or how I engage with people on social media. Now, sure, that's being a professional. That makes lots of sense, right? But you should also be compensated for that. In most other lines of work where you are not allowed to have a social life publicly or those things are could get you in trouble, you normally, and that we'll talk about that as well, you normally would get paid more money. It's called compensation. It's what a business does. They say, hey, you don't get as many opportunities or you don't get as much as other people, but you get more money, right? That's important, right? Let's talk about the policies. While I was there was no policy, and this is the other really important element as well, because it's a very abusive business. Again, my experiences and my opinion. While I was there, you weren't allowed to say certain things to certain people, or even though there were people in certain positions of the company who would do really outrageous shit that should get you fired. What happened was you would get picked up because just someone didn't like you. As I've told this story many times, but in one of my very first meetings ever at Games Workshop with a new manager, who's a moron, he said, Rob, I'm just going to try and find a way to make you redundant because I just don't like you. Terrible, horrific thing to say to a person who's just trying to work hard. Really bad. Okay? I've told that story a lot and it's super true. Okay? And that's hard. That's tough. That's a terrible working environment to be a part of. And also really mean. Like, and how did they do it? What policies was I breaking? It was bringing the company into disrepute. An incredibly broad subject that they can use to bully loads of people out of their jobs. Like, loads. It's just broad. And sure, every corporation does it. Of course every corporation does it, yeah? But they do it because they do. I don't know what else to say. They do it. Like, it's just shit, right? I've got part of it. I couldn't be mad at them if they told me outright in the United States they'd never be honest about it. That's true. Sell us your personal life and social media presence for 25 grand a year and discount. We can't afford more. Poor tiny Games Workshop. They're also rich. They're rich, and in my opinion, bullies. Okay. Did you punch his face? I didn't. No, because I was scared. I had to go home that night and talk to my friends about how best to placate and soothe the opinion of this person that was trying to actively bully me out my job. Okay? That's the environment that these people are working in, which is why you've seen the law presenter quit. Where's Aiden? Where are the Aiden videos? You've seen the law presenter quit, get another job. Yeah? You've seen the Battle Report presenter quit and get another job. You've seen the Battle Report editor. Also, let's also be important. Anyone with any skills, the editor's first to quit. Editors always the first to quit. Editors are like, I'm going to fucking just quit. I can edit for anyone. I'm not editing for these fucking chuckle fucks. As soon as you got, like, they're like, I have a skill. Like, I could just edit shit. Like, they just leave immediately. They're like, oh, this is awful. Leave. Right? And if you listen to Painting Face, listen to Pat, he'll explain it. Pat, Peachy, all those people, Duncan especially, are going to be very nice about it. Yeah, because they're just nice people. That's the other bit as well. They're not ever going to say nasty or mean things about it because they're nice people. But guess fucking what? I don't give a shit, right? Because they were fucking horrible to me. So guess what? You get this back. They're pieces of shit. Okay? Everyone in that management structure in that department is fucking vile. Right? They're vile and they're leeches and they're disgusting. Right? That little section. Okay? And that's why all these really successful people quit. And it's horrible. But there's a really great thing that you get to do. You get to quit and you get to make stuff. And it's lovely. It's just lovely, lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely. Because even if you're poor, and I've been very poor for the past few years making content, probably because I've made shit content. Even because of that, it doesn't matter. Like, because at least you're not being fucking bullied at work. That's so much better. Like, it's so much better. Like, and there is a level of poverty that is not fun, of course. Of course, and I should never disregard that, right? Anyway, let's talk about some of the comments, and let's see what your thoughts in the comments are, because I want to hear what you got to say. Now, this is the important part, right? The Only Hands conversation is because people are recognising the poor work conditions that exist in, say, Games Workshop. And we are obviously talking about the people they put out as presenters. We haven't even talked about protection. Maybe they're doing it because they want to protect the people. Wow, really interesting. We haven't even talked about representation yet. Let's talk about protection first. Having worked at Games Workshop, having presented for them in multiple different places around the world as their front TV presenter, did they at any point give me training on how to protect myself online? No. Did they ever give me a resource or anyone to talk to so that I could talk about any bullying I was suffering from external or from the internet or from anything in my job? Absolutely not. Did they give me guidelines for my job? No, they did not. What was the worst experience that I had? It was the management. That was what it was. Was it the audience? No, it was not. Okay? So protection that they gave me on a personal level, and I assume this extended beyond me, zero. Did they give me any way to manage people online or help me protect myself online? No. Do I assume that they gave that? Am I making an assumption that that's every other presenter? Absolutely. Oh, thank you to Margoon and Insomniac Painting for donating loads of money in the chat. I didn't say that being poor just for the money, but I appreciate it. Like, you couldn't do that on Warhammer. Like, you couldn't be a Warhammer presenter and be like, fuck, like, my car's been destroyed. And then just everyone's like, I fucking love your content. Here's a $5. So, thank you. I really appreciate the donations. I'll talk more about that after I finish recording the vid. So that's very lovely. Love you guys too. Thank you. Morning. Are we doing club? Colliery, we're doing club soon. Yeah, baby. We're definitely doing club later if you want to come hang. We talked about safety. They did no safety. In my experience, my lived experience, so no arguments there. They did no safety. They gave me no resources for safety. So are they making it so you can't see the presenters for safety? No. Similarly, did they think about safety when they posted pictures and articles about these people online? No, they did not. None of those things. Okay? None of those things. Right? Do they think about the safety of their Battle Report presenters? No. Okay, so you can do Battle Report and be safe, but can't do painting tutorials and then you're unsafe. So the safety line is bollocks. Okay, that's important to be aware of because my lived experience is that the safety line is bollocks. Okay, let's talk about representation. Here we go. Now this is absolutely not a point, yeah, but I want to make it a point anyway because what I really want to do is put the knife in. Games Workshop are misogynists. Okay, allegedly. Okay, so what they have done is made it so all of the men are still allowed on video. All of the men. Okay? The only department which contains women does not have to face camera stuff. Why is that? What is that about? There you go. Feel free to make that an issue as much as you like. Okay? Do I think that that's absolutely just something I'm creating? Yes. I'm just making that up. That isn't real. Okay? So that's important. Yeah? We're just normal men. Okay? Apart from all the women that they won't show on camera. Okay? Important to know. Important to know. So representation, I covered that. Just something I made up, but it's fun to just throw at them. Haunchy TV, in my opinion, they show people. So new Duncan and Peachy is happening. People getting known through them and quit, and people follow them to their new shit instead of keeping sucking GW tits. Haunchy TV, actually, if you go back and listen to my other stuff, I'm pretty certain that every single creator would love to work at the source of creation. I absolutely think that Peachy, having worked there for 20 years, would have loved to have maintained his friendships and worked in the place that he feels most comfortable. He probably would have really valued it if he was valued as an employee. Same for Duncan. Okay, these are staunch, die-hard Games Workshop people. Okay, these are people who love the company. No, sorry, love the IP a lot. I do not think at any point they intentionally got a job to create a platform or vehicle for themselves. I think they wanted to make a thing. But as creators, they noticed that they could. Duncan, it's like me. We talk about stuff all the time. My God, when I'm enthusiastic about an army, I know you lot go out there and go buy one. Yeah, you're like, I get DMs all the time. Rob, I've gone and bought loads of squigs because of you. Right? I do more to sell Games Workshop's product for them now as an independent creator than I did working for them. Okay? Same for Duncan. Right? Same for like all of them. Right? I know for a fact. Thank you to Inquisitors for donating £3. I know for a fact, Peachy and Duncan are doing some Necromunda stuff. Not Peachy and Duncan, sorry. Peachy and Pat are doing some Necromunda stuff, right? That's Games Workshop IP. They're making content about Games Workshop IP intentionally because they like it, right? That's the important part. They're not using it as a platform to become rich. They're using it as a platform to talk about the thing that they fucking love. That's what's so sad about this whole story, is that they don't get it. Rob, I've forgotten about the goats. Let's never talk about the goats. Okay, representation. Now let's look at some of the comments, because the comments are unhinged, and I want to call some people a bootlick. Okay, and that's important for me, so let's go. Because that's what I like to do. Rob totally carrying. Okay. Losing a painting video is fantastic. Obviously true. There's, I don't know what this is. Agree, let them create and be seen, and might as well get finger. Bob Ross. What did we like about Bob Ross? We fucking liked Bob Ross. That's who we liked. We liked Neil Buchanan. Wait, did he murder someone? No, who did? Oh, no. Okay, we liked Bob Ross. Okay, I at least know that's important. Agreed, part of Games Workshop resurgence around 8th was Duncan being such a personality. He was a friendly face, memeable. It helped the audience connect. Just look at the most successful hobby channels on YouTube. You know and love, and you want to behind them. You want to support them. Receiving nothing like the respect you receive from Games Workshop. Feature, not a bug. Correct. So I'll make this bigger so you can all see. Let's go. Hold on 1 second. Make this so you can all see and get involved with it. Peachy and Duncan were store employees first. If they started out to build a platform, they had an incredible foresight. That's some deep Russian operative stuff, is what you're assuming. They joined at 18, hoping media would become massive in 15 to 20 years, and they could launch their own business. Right? Right. Only Hand sounds like a worrying possible website. Obviously, that's true. 100% agree with your thread. Artists are more than one-dimensional paint robots and should be respected as individuals. A lot of the time, when I worked at Warhammer, one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to interview the sculptors. Why did I want to interview the sculptors? Because I wanted to know why they sculpted like that. Why do they not credit the sculptors right now? Because if sculptors realize how much fucking money they can make on Patreon as independent creators, they would just leave in droves. If anything, being a TV presenter at Games Workshop let you understand your own personal value. That's what it did. It let you understand your value. People would message you. People would come up to you and talk to you and say, I really value you, thank you. It gave you the ability to recognize your own self-worth. Yeah? Very much like a landlord, yeah? And very much like anyone who grifts off other people's labor, which is what Games Workshop does. Yeah, it has an upper management structure who have no skills other than suppressing the wages and also the employment rights. There's no union for Warhammer, for example, yeah, of the people in their lower creative sphere, and then being paid to do so large dividends so they can pay large dividends to shareholders. They're grifters. That's how it works, and that's what's happening, right? Okay. I didn't mind the Warhammer Plus subscription past tense as cancelled this week, but Only Hands thing is just not on, given that only seems to be the painters who are now anonymized because of misogyny, allegedly, right? It feels like a corporate directive that has changed too much for the wrong reasons. Correct. I initially felt people were overreacting, but I'm starting to come around to your position. It would be pretty funny to have a platform to support painters called Only Hands, though. I agree. It's awful. Warhammer TV could be great. Whoever is running it is shooting himself in the face. See, I like how it's like shooting himself in the face. Must be a male. Like, like this is clearly the fucked opinion. So Garfy, hold on, let me make sure I'm on this thread. Garfy put a really good point out there, and there's some other comments I want to read because I want to fight back on the stupid opinions, because there are some really stupid opinions. So let's get into it because it's really fun. Where is the stupid opinion? So now the video slowed down. I apologize. If I had an editor, I'd just chop this bit out, but it doesn't work. Garfield? Yeah. Only a man can fuck up this badly. Base chat, as always. Love that. Love that for you guys. What's your problem with landlords? Everything. Everything. No one should be allowed to be a landlord. That's how it works. And if you are a landlord, fine. But just understand that like it's a societal problem, not necessarily your personal decisions that's causing the major issues. Get me Garfield, that's what I want. The quote retweets. The quote retweets are pretty telling. Here we go. Yeah, we are base coated. Square based is what we are. So let's see what we got. This guy is like, yep, no, Diadrin, love this guy. Totally agree with this. Masterclass much less interesting without personality. From a professional POV as a TV producer, William Foxton Todd is a legit, works in the business TV producer. It's completely bonkers to have great talent and not use it. But they recognize that they've got great talent. So much so that they used it to grift your subscription at the start of this, what is effectively a Ponzi scheme. Like, like, when did they deliver on all of this stuff? Yeah, I reckon we got sold a bill of fucking nothing is what we got sold. Yeah, anyway, we'll keep talking. Warhammer, take note. Very much enjoyed the people presenting masterclass. Sure. I honestly could have wrote this thread word for word, so just agreeing. Fucking A, let's go. This annoys me so much. If it continues down this road, not crediting creators. I mean, already didn't credit creators, right? If anything, what's really nice about this, in fact, is the fact that we already know they don't credit creators in all of their works. Thank you to Insomniac Painter for donating a fucking ton of bits. Appreciate you. We already know they don't credit loads of the creators. The presenters that we were shown are the people they did actively credit, and because of that, we were able to develop a relationship with them. Right? I said this on yesterday's show. Why don't they have community managers for each of their game systems? Why isn't there a 40k community manager who talks about, I know they're doing things like MetaWatch, but I mean an actual community manager. Whoa, by the way, guys, we really need like a terrain map guide or a community manager whose job it is to manage a community. Every other game system has a community manager. That's what they do. They literally have that job for things like Total War or Fortnite. They probably have loads. They probably have regional community managers. Why don't they pay people to have community managers? Because, and this is super important, they don't give a fuck about their community. They just want your money, right? Also, the community manager would have to be paid quite a lot of money to engage with people because you'd have to answer all the fucking questions, right? Like, there we go. 40k community manager would be a literal hell job. Oh, thank you to Calesius, who just subscribed for the first time with Magic the Gathering, all the old Games Workshop art that was used and credited Games Workshop while the original art had the actual artists on them. Yes, they're even worse than other people. So this is Garfy's thread. I have blocked some people. So I'll unblock them for a moment so we can read them. I generally tend to block a lot of racists and anyone with a Union Jack flag. So because it's just a red fucking flag. That's all I'm gonna say. I understand why Games Workshop come from. It is what it is. I understand why Games Workshop are coming from. It is what it is. I understand why kids can't why there's like 4 million kids in poverty class and we took free school meals away from them last year. I understand, because it is what it is. Like, sometimes, fuck people. Yeah, that's my opinion. I care about Britain, but not the kids. Fuck the kids. Playing devil's advocate, I imagine if I were to go through this person's profile, they'd play devil's advocate a fucking lot, especially on the issue of, like, women. Yeah? Like, playing devil's advocate, she was dressed a bit wrong. But there can also be Matt Ward destroyed Warhammer type situations. Sometimes not naming folks and having them out in the open could be a good thing. Apart from all the other times they credit them, you fucking knuckle dragger. Every other time that they credit them, which is loads of times. All the time. Right? So then, isn't it part of the OnlyHans thing that they can more easily reproduce the content in multiple languages? No, because they haven't done it. I'm sure there are other reasons too, but that made perfect sense to me. Of course it would. Absolutely, while I'm ostensibly watching for the painting, the presenter makes a big difference. The truth is, I'm more likely to go watch the Painted Face, Duncan Rhodes Academy, Ninja, Sonic Sledgehammer than the Games Workshop. Now they have no hands. Tristan, let's go. Love you to bits. Okay. But what if they aren't front and center of the camera? They can't take anything with them when they eventually leave. Listen. I can't express this enough. Let's do a bit of role play. Okay? You as the listener, dear listener, you work for Games Workshop. Yeah, you're in the marketing department, okay? I'm going to be Duncan Rhodes. The Duncan fucking Rhodes. The 100,000 followers on Twitter, Duncan Rhodes. Yeah, that in every painting tutorial we've ever done, got his own fucking meme pages, Duncan Rhodes. Get ready, okay? So role play. You're the manager or the head of marketing. Get ready, okay? Hiya. Oh, I can't do Duncan's voice. I wish I could. Hello. So, like, yeah, I've just been having a tough time at work. Like, I'd love to buy a house this year, and I don't get paid enough to like get a deposit. And I've been trying to save a lot, but dude, just bloody love that avocado. It's too sarcastic. I'm sorry. I'll try harder. Anyway, I haven't really been enjoying just making kind of like daily painting content. And when we started out, I liked making like really long form content. It did really well. In fact, actually, if you look at the numbers online, the long form painting videos have had much more views than the short form painting content. And it's just something I'd like to get back to. As a creator, it's something I think I would value. And also I think it would resonate well with the audience because, again, I've been making these videos before you ever step foot in this department. You have no video experience. You've never created anything. And while that's quite aggressive, and Duncan would never say that, I would just like to be valued more in my job. So I'd like you to listen to my ideas, or if you don't want to listen to my ideas, I'd just like to be reimbursed more because also I'm Duncan fucking Rhodes. Okay. That's me. Okay? That was my pitch. Now, you all, right, are the head of marketing. Duncan Rhodes has said he's not that happy. He might leave. What are you going to do? Just tell me what you're going to do. You're going to say suck a fat one. You're an idiot, right? Pay. Buy. You're not going to say buy. Best I could do is 0.5%. No, I'm being serious. Give me your serious response. What you would actually do as the marketing manager. I would be like, wow, we'll just double your fucking pay. Do you know what I mean? Right? You just be like, well, Duncan, make the videos you want, and I'll just double your pay. Right? Number one, I stop a competitor, if they're even a competitor, because again, he's painting Games Workshop miniatures and making people buy Games Workshop miniatures. Right? Here's a blank piece of paper, write your number on it. Exactly. Right? Like, anyone who's remotely good at what they do for a fucking job would be like, you keep the people that are valuable. Right? Be fucking sad and because the manager has zero say on it. Okay, whoever does have say, right? You do what you need to do to keep him minimum fair pay. Yeah. Hit the roads, Dunk. I thought you wanted to say what Games Workshop say, not what decent managers would say. Say what decent managers would say. As a marketing manager, my response would be, I have no say in setting your salary. My hands are tied. Please accept nothing and live with it. There are hundreds of people out there who could do the same for less money. There are hundreds of people out there who could do the same for less money, which is, I assume, what they roughly told him, right? Right? I have a pair of hands that can do your job. So anyway, like, it's give him at least one long form a week and increase pay. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Retrieve a big red button that controls the explosive in his head. Yes. Write a very decent document talking about his happiness would increase share prices and present that to senior management. Right? Disciplinary! What have Games Workshop lost if he's doing the same content? However much they've lost in fucking paint sales, Mr. Main Waring. However much they've lost in subscriptions to if you got the Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy for Games Workshop. Like, they've lost a lot. They've lost a lot. But importantly, they've lost reputation. Right? You understand, because when you like a person, like, for instance, we all liked, or I liked The Witcher, the TV series, right? And then Henry Cavill left at the end of season 2, and you kind of ask yourself a couple of questions. Is it the writers? Is it Henry Cavill himself? But you start to ask question marks. I don't really know Henry Cavill. I've never really followed him. I'm not like a fan, right? So with the Duncan thing, if you're a Duncan fan and Duncan's like, I'm going to leave because I don't like it there, or I prefer this place more, you can look at the other place and be like, I don't really like that as much. Because that's fair. Like, that's how it works. That's what investing in a human being is. This is the longest YouTube video of all time. I'm definitely not putting this up. Like, it's 46 minutes long. I did not realize I had a new paint brand of his own. He does. He has a whole paint brand of his own. It did a Kickstarter. It made £1 million. Which Games Workshop don't need £1 million, right? Apart from they're going to be pissed that they didn't make £1 million. No, Games Workshop, no, it's the children who are wrong. The only paint I bought since Duncan and Peachy left Games Workshop because of painting video is Vallejo light grey and white. Is Dunk's video using non-Games Workshop products? Is his paint any good? Apparently, I don't know anything, so this is not me saying. I don't know, but like the paint reviews say that they're good. But I don't know enough about paint to give you a fair review. Like fucking around Friday. Yes, Owen, hello. One of the hobby shops sells Duncan paints now, so I kind of want to try. There we go. Anyway, so the Only Hands thing is stupid, but it's a series of, it's the most public and obvious series of mistakes by Games Workshop management when dealing with people who are front and center representing their business. And one of the worst things is that they keep putting these people in vulnerable positions. One of the things that you're going to say is maybe they're trying to protect them or one of those other things, but they're the most vulnerable that they can be. What they're doing is they're putting their reputations on the line and their work experience on the line and a bunch of other stuff for little to no support, little to no pay, and then they're slowly removing even the humanization of those people. So, like, which I find horrific. Like, I was thinking about this a lot. Like, the level of vulnerable that I was when I worked for Games Workshop was really massive. Like, I was front and center, open to all sorts of hatred and criticism if it was directed at me. Thankfully, I'm hilarious, so I didn't get any. I waited to start my own YouTube channel for that, and then I got loads. But you also don't have any support in that way, and that's the kind of like, and then to be publicly almost shamed, with the Only Hands thing is kind of maybe the worst thing, because the private shaming, the HR meetings where like you're effectively being told to like we're just going to find ways to make you redundant, or the coffee table meetings which you wish you'd recorded because they say the most abusive shit you can imagine an employer saying, like, or just the other stuff, you know, you get no support for that, and you're yet thrust into this limelight. Like, I'm not saying it's a Britney Spears situation, but it's not a good situation. You know, you're out there working hard, trying your hardest, and being a creator. And then the people who are profiting most off you are helping you the least and denying you the right to support from other people. That's the other bit as well. Like, if we don't know who they are, we can't help them. Like, that's the weirdest bit. Now, this is the other bit that's worth talking about. There's a whole bunch of Games Workshop fanboys who are absolutely never going to be a part of this conversation because it's just like the same people who like football. Like last year, they're like, "I like the World Cup," and I'm like, "It was built by slaves," and they're like, "But I like football. It's kind of okay. Well, it's all right, fine. Well, watch the World Cup if you want, but it was built by slaves. Like the stadium was built by slaves. Like people died. 400,000 people died. Like loads of people died, and they're like, "Oh, but I like football." And so the people that like Games Workshop are going to continue to like Games Workshop, no matter how they treat people or how they behave. That's just going to be a thing that happens. Their arguments are dismissed outright, and their entire opinions are disingenuous. And there are loads just in that thread alone. It's not worth talking to them. It's not worth engaging with them. Like, I don't want to talk to them. They don't have the ability to critically think. So just don't engage with them because they're just silly. But you can kind of understand why. That's the other kind of bit that's like most difficult to deal with when challenging these people, or not even challenging these people, discussing with them, because Warhammer has meant so much to me. Warhammer's meant lots and lots and lots of people. And football means lots to people as well, to give it its credit. It makes people happy, it helps people get through their day in the crushingly awful society that we live in. So, just focusing, blinkers on, head down. I like this thing. They're going to do hands only. I like it, and that's all I want to do. It's fine. Because, but it's not empathetic. It's not kind. It's not understanding. It's not a bunch of other stuff. You can kind of understand where that mindset comes from. I don't understand it myself, but I'm trying to be fair. Play devil's advocate, I guess. When have I started an OnlyHands account? I don't know. They made a rod for their own back because people now have left and proven to be successful. The shareholders will be asking how they're going to prevent the same thing happening without costing more money. That's true. I voted with my wallet. Diadrin's correct. And I mean, I'm not here to, at the end of this conversation, to be like, what can we do? The answer is not what we can do. The answer is who we can support. I'm very much... The reason I don't drama farm anymore, because A, I'm incredibly long-winded and apparently it takes over an hour. That is not. If you're going to drama farm, I want it in 12 minutes and I want to get out of here. But the thing that you can do, and the thing that I want to do in my life now, and the reason I didn't even want to talk about it, even though I quite clearly am very passionate about it, is because we need to get on. You need to go find creators who you do like. You need to go find YouTube accounts of people you like and support, Instagram accounts, of people you support and like. That's the real positive thing. You want to go and find the people who you like and support. And just, I would argue, don't support Games Workshop. That would be the kind of culmination of it. Because I don't think that they've really given you any reason to support them. You can buy their minis, sure, because you like the minis. Make sure you get them from your local gaming store. Because again, that local gaming store is going to be really valuable for you for building a community and meeting people and having friends. Buy the books if you want to buy the books, although I think they're wildly overpriced and the PDFs are available online all the time, so just go get them that way. Again, legally. You can engage with the hobby if you want to engage with the hobby that way, but if you've got money and you want to spend it places that invests and values people who are kind and nice and do good things. Just do that. That would be my only response to this whole process. You just find the people you value and support them, because these people clearly don't value people. In fact, they've specifically made a statement. I guess that's kind of the final point. They've made a statement that they don't support people. They don't value people. They don't value every creator that's walked through their door. They just don't value people. And I guess the question you've got to ask yourselves is do you? That's the question we all have to ask ourselves. Do you value people, or you like Games Workshop and don't value people? I guess that's kind of the end of the bit. So if you have this, just go find some creators you like. Not me. Like and subscribe to them. Make them feel happy. Leave some comments on some YouTube videos for other creators, not me. Again, not me. This isn't about me. For other people. And just be like, I like you. I like your stuff. Your stuff's great. Take 2 seconds out your day. Like it. Subscribe. Just write a fucking comment. I promise you, it'll make them super happy. And that's a much better thing to put in the world at the end of all this than a boycott or a whatever. Yeah? Positive element, right? Just go out there and be good versus dealing with a company who've proven to be shit for a long time. Anyway, that's it.